Hi everyone, I'm Janet Boyer and this is my husband Ron,
Hi, everyone.
and we have created the Coffee Tarot. And
Yeah.
Coffee Tarot brings together our two favorite loves, coffee and
Yes.
tarot. He's excited. The cool thing about tarot, and that people don't realize, is that it's a tool for self-development, but it's also a tool for brainstorming, for creative inspiration. A lot of writers and painters and dancers even use it for inspiration. A lot like coffee and caffeine. So we brought our two loves together. We have created other decks and books, but now we're going to do what's called a Grande Edition. We are going to do a whole 78 card deck, and we'd like you to help support us and bring this project to life. It's a dream of ours. I remember when we first had the idea, remember we were out on our patio and I said, we should do a coffee tarot. And of course we were drinking coffee at the time. And he goes, I don't know, how are we going to do that? And I'm like, oh, come on. So what we do with our other decks, our Snowland deck, and even in my books that I have written, is we basically take the old dusty medieval tarot and we drag it into the modern world, and we still correlate the meanings that have been ascribed to those cards, but we ask, okay, how would this card manifest in this theme? So for Coffee Tarot, let's say, how would the Chariot manifest? Well, we had the idea to create a percolator rocket who's launching off from Cape Canaveral, and we call it fuel because how many of us artists and creatives out there know that caffeine and coffee helps us get through the day? For the more scary cards like death, we did an out of business card, because God knows that if a local coffee shop were to go out of business, that would be a sort of death. But the good news is, and we put like a little flower and a for sale sign on it, it gives us the hope of renewal, that somebody else might buy it and open it. The tower we've renamed the Rip. Some mice got in a bushel of coffee beans and they started to gnaw on it, and it's about ready to explode. The Devil we've called Caffeined, and it's hilarious. I think it's one of my favorite cards that Ron made. It is a snake that has a coffee bean pattern on its body, and they're shaking hands trying to reach a coffee that the snake is curled around. And if you look closely, you will see that the handle are like handcuffs, and it symbolizes bondage or addiction, because some of us are addicted to coffee. And some of us are addicted to tarot too. Just look at some of the online tarot groups. We're a pretty addicted bunch. We love supporting new artists and looking and buying new decks. I myself have supported over 30 Kickstarter campaigns, and many of them have been tarot and oracle decks. So we've put a whole lot of information. Just read below and see everything we're going to offer. I've made everything very clearly. I've spelled it out. I've showed some pictures behind the scenes of Ron creating art, some of our decks. We own a lot of the swag that we're going to be offering as add-ons. For example, oh, backwards. Someone help me out. I'm right-brained and obviously directionally challenged. This is our tradition card. It's normally the Hierophant, but we've decided to call it tradition because the Hierophant, which often looks religious and kind of scares some people who aren't religious oriented, it just means traditions, whether they're ethnic or moral or spiritual. In our case, it harkens back to the cave people days where they told stories on walls and orally around the fire. And of course, we imagine these fanciful coffee bean creatures that the hunters are going after because they needed their caffeine too. Otherwise, we as a species would probably never survive. And these are the beautiful bags. Now, this was from our Majors Only campaign, but they're going to be a lot bigger, and they're drawstring. And so we have a different fabric, though. We put it again in, if you look below, there's a picture of the fabric we picked out. In case we run out, the backers will get to vote on new fabric. So we're excited about that. We even are doing mugs. Yes, this is ours. I'm one of Ron's biggest fans, I think, huh? And we buy
Mhm.
our own stuff. And
So,
this is a cool coffee mug that you can get, but you get to pick whatever four images you want if you want to do this as an add-on. We've done the tradition, fuel, the rocket ship I was telling you about, the stars. Doesn't that look familiar? What does that stars look like to you people, huh? Doesn't that look a little bit like a magic lasso on the handle? I don't know. I don't know. And this is our version of the hermit, which we have called seeking, because the hermit often looks to books and knowledge to increase his knowledge or her knowledge. But you'll be able to pick whatever formages you want, should you choose to add a mug. This is our majors only deck. Now the backing is going to be different, but this is the coffee being art that will be on the digital wallpaper that all backers will get. All backers get digital wallpaper. It will be this way. It won't have any text or any logos on it. So it'll be just beautiful coffee bean wallpaper for you. But Ron is going to design a whole new backing for our full Grande Edition. And these are some of the cards. But we're not going to have borders on this. We are going to take off the borders for this version. There's that caffeine that I was telling you about. Isn't that hilarious? Oh my God. We're going to take the borders off, and then we'll just have that raw umber colored strip at the bottom with the same font. This is the Out of Business that I was telling you about. Sorry to cover you up there, Ron, but as you know, I am directionally challenged. Instead of an M press, we have a French press. Doesn't she look a little familiar? I don't know. By the way, Ron makes some really great French press. The stuff looks like tar. Oh my God. Here's Tradition that I was telling you about. You see the little hand in the cup, as if cavemen, we envisioned how they needed coffee. Here's a Java knot. Instead of NASA, we have Java. Ron studied the NASA astronaut suits to get this just right, but of course it is surrealistic, because who's going to have an open can or an open carafe of coffee? And then you can see, of course, in the helmet, a coffee bean. And World Cafe instead of the world. Oh, this is one of my favorites. Instead of the judgment card, we called it the wake up. And it's like being revived. Instead of dirt, it's like coffee grounds. And there's an angel with a trumpet, carafe pouring coffee. Even Mr. Sun needs coffee to get started. So I'm sorry if I'm shaking around. Again, I am completely directionally challenged. So the rip that I was telling you guys about, that's our version of the tower. I'm too amused by our own creativity, as you could. I look at it this way: if you don't love what you do, and if you don't love the product you're putting out, then what's the point? Because I've been an avid book buyer. Oh, if you could just see, he builds me ceiling to floor bookshelves. But I've also been a tarot deck buyer, and I figure if you don't love it and you don't use it, what's the point? And as artists and creatives, it's especially important for me, because I want to use our stuff, you know. Here's our strength card, which is hilarious. Juan Valdez, that's why there's a Juan tattoo. You guys know what Juan Valdez is, don't you? There's the fuel I was telling you about. And the lovers, both reaching for biscotti. Oh my God, so romantic. Kissing people. I do like it. He's my favorite artist. The Emperor is trying to serve the domain. Secret Recipe, our High Priestess. Now, something you're going to notice about these majors, if you can see despite my shaking and my messing up. Oh, I wanted to show you two more cards. This is Blending, our version of Temperance. So as you can see, we've updated the titles too, so they actually make sense in real life. And this is Hanging. So instead of a hanging man, we have a guy that's just a cowboy hanging out with his coffee mug, but his kids are playing in the back, and as you can see, one of them has strung the other one up on the tree in the back. Now, what you might have noticed is that these are all done in a brown. Oh, this is magic, by the way, our version of the Magician, because people who write and read think coffee is magic. You might notice that they're all in browns. The majors are only in brown tones like coffee, but now that we've expanded to the majors, we expanded the majors to a full deck, you will see with the cards below that we've included that we have added color schemes to it. So our water suit, which is correlated with cups, you'll see some pinks and aquamarines in it. The wands will have a lot of orange and reds and yellows. The sword suits will have a lot of gray and purples and some black. And the earth suit, which is normally correlated with pentacles and coins, will have a lot of green and golds in it. So these majors that we showed you that we have are, mostly the browns tones for the majors. So the majors will be in coffee tones. The rest of the deck will be in various colors. But we are going to keep the brown strip at the bottom, right? Have we decided to do that? Okay. I believe so, yeah. Yeah. But I mean, if you have a better idea, feel free to message us. I don't know if we talked about that. Yeah, we'll probably keep it brown instead of coloring the like instead of color coding like green strip for the earth suit. So yeah, I think we'll probably just go ahead and keep that beautiful raw umber color. Okay, so there's tons of information there below. I don't want to bore you guys. I just want to show you some of the swag and the cards, and let you know how much we love coffee and tarot, and how we really need your help to bring this to pass and send these decks all over the world. We are so excited, if you can't tell. Do you want to say, this is Silent Bob, Silent Ron? No. He's extremely introverted. In high school, I was voted, get this, we went to 2 different schools, right? I was voted most talkative, and in his high school, he was voted most shy. Swear to God. Isn't that hilarious? Do you want to say a word or two? Don't mean to put you on the spot.
These images are how I speak, more or less.
And he's obviously directionally challenged as well. Go ahead, you can cover me.
So
we'll make it equal. There, you can cover me this time.
So I put a lot of detail, and I put a lot of effort into making as beautiful images as I can. And to me, that's a lot of my conversation that I add to everything. So
that's true. Ron is very artistic. He makes his furniture here at home. He bakes. Oh my God, you should try his pie crust. I mean, he just made a blackberry pie a few weeks ago. Melt in your mouth. His crab cakes, to die for, better than any restaurant. He makes and designs, like I said, furniture, bookcases. He recently painted a walking stick for a disabled friend. He once did a huge mural on a garage door in the winter that took him 7 months, wasn't it? So he brings creative flair to everything he does. If I ask for a snack, sometimes he'll arrange it beautifully on a plate for me. And so you speak the language of art beautifully, honey. And
thank you.
You're welcome. I love you.
I love you too.
Oh, thanks. So thank you for listening to us, everyone. And we hope that you will be encouraged to support our Kickstarter. If even at the smallest amount, we would be very grateful. And if you love coffee and you love tarot, we think this will be the deck for you. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.